All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be comparing a couple of different things. We're going to be comparing Key Largo versus Billy Bud, and also versus Havana Daydream. I have an idea of who's going to win, but we will see here shortly. I cheated and did a couple of pre-tastings. One of them was surprisingly smooth, I would say, and one of them was surprisingly overpowered, or just very one note. But that was on first impressions, so we'll see what happens on second impressions. But I'm going to start off in this Ronaldo with some Key Largo loaded. And let's see what happens here. And eventually I'll do them side by side. Just want to get a little head start here. It has been at least a year, I believe, since I've had any cigar leaf, to be honest. And much longer since I've had any substantial amount. The motivation behind this was a viewer named Abe, and it was his recommendation. I was complaining, like old man screams at clouds, that my taste buds seemed to be getting a little dull, so I needed something more powerful, more punchy. And he reminded me, like, hey, why not try cigar leaf? So here we are. I may have overdid it a little bit. I'll tell you right now which one's the prettiest. The prettiest one is Key Largo, both in the tin, but the tin doesn't matter. That's marketing. But even, I can pull it up here. Even the presentation, even the flakes themselves. It's just it's a damn pretty tin. The color scheme is on point. And I like that broken flake. I wish it was actually in a more of a flake, not quite chopped up. I like to do the chopping myself. But when I smell this, I mean, I'm not one for tin notes. I mean, tin notes don't really matter if it doesn't, if it doesn't smoke like that, if it doesn't taste like that. But I think there's some value in it. So let's do. Oh, that's interesting. Let's do this is Billy Bud. This is the one that's a little too cigar-y for me. I mean, the Key Largo smells like, man, it smells like the world's best shoe shop / barber shop. Billy Bud is much more subdued from the tin note, at least, but that's not how they smoke. All right, that is surprising. And then the third one here is Havana Daydream. I think this actually has less cigar leaf from a ratio standpoint in the blend. But let's give it a... Yeah, there is only a faint hint of cigar. I think 5 out of 10 people would, in a blind smell test, would not be able to detect cigar leaf in this, which is interesting. Maybe that's why I like it, but we'll get to that later. All right. Thank you for the thumbs up. Welcome, everyone. Little departure from my my infamous jump roping videos. Key Largo so far. I need to try to pretend like I don't know this is a cigar leaf. So you would definitely be able to tell the cigar leaf in it. And to be honest, I have not read the tin. I should have. You got to do your research. A distinguished broken. There's such thing as an undistinguished broken flake. Distinguished broken flake of red Virginia tobaccos, small leaf Orientals. Orientals. I didn't know that had it in there, and that's probably one reason I like Key Largo. I'm a huge Oriental fan. A measure of Cyprian Latakia spiced with velvety cigar wrapper leaf. Yeah, I guess I always used to think this was a cigar leaf bomb, but it might only be like 10-20% cigar leaf, to be honest. But that's all you need. Cigar leaf goes a long way. I've never ordered cigar leaf, you know, by itself. I'm sure that's probably almost unsmokable. Although I smoke cigars, but I think it's the wrapper leaf though. It's not the filler. Yeah, you couldn't smoke a bowl of pure wrapper. I think that might kill you. Oh, definitely. Texture, yeah, definitely. This is a that's why I bought Billy Bud because it has cigar leaf in it. So I know the cigar leaf's in all of these. It's just I was trying to figure out, can you really smell it from the tin note? KR4M. That's a hell of an acronym. I think I might crack a tin of seersucker tomorrow. That sounds familiar, but I can't picture it. Been aging a few tins about 3 years. I could never had that much patience. Never had a seersucker. Is that a C&D blend? Sucker seer? Oh, M4 Arc. Mafork is your name. That sounds Serbian. We finally got a break in the hot weather down here in the southeast. It is 66 degrees. Haven't seen the sun in 2 days, and it's fantastic. It's like early October down here compared to blazing heat just 3 or 4 days ago. Abe, if you rewind a little bit, I do a little acknowledgement that you were the primary, not primary, you were the sole motivation to this purchase. So if I don't like what I'm smoking, they, I'd like to submit an invoice for partial payment. But so far, so good. I do have a Spectrum internet story to tell while I'm smoking this. So we're starting with the good point. I keep forgetting that people are coming in. We're starting with Key Largo, and before I finish this, I think that the closest competitor from a quality standpoint, from a flavor standpoint, I actually think Abe will be the Havana Daydream, which I did not expect. I thought Billy Bud would be closer, but I smoked a little Billy Bud, and it was potent and a little overpowering. So I think, well, no better time than the present. In the name of science, I think we should do a side by side here. We'll use the Ardor It's not an apple. I keep forgetting. This is an Ardor. It's not an apple. It's a. Now I'll think of it. But it's a magnificent pipe. Ooh, a dedicated pipe to Havana Daydream. I do. So just to be fair, this is going to be comparing apples to oranges a little bit. By the smell and by the look, I have a suspicion that Havana Daydream has a little less cigar leaf in it. So that's going to play a factor here. But that's a fair comparison because now that I did my research, the cigar leaf that's in any of these cigar leaf blends is the wrapper cigar leaf, and that's the potent stuff. So if you overdo it, it doesn't mean it's better. It could actually, you got to have the right ratios. Just like blending's a complicated science. I would never smoke 100% Perique, for example. All right. Let's double fist this and light up Havana Daydream. I'll tell you right away, this is easier smoking than Key Largo is from let's get going. Let's just start puffing. I'm not talking about the cut, the ribbon cut versus the broken flake. Just I think you could sneak this into someone's pipe who has no interest in cigar leaf, and they would detect something, but I don't think they would detect cigar leaf. So it's very, to be honest, this would be a great starter tobacco for someone looking to venture out outside of the Virginias and the Burleys and whatnot. All right. No. Yeah, that's nice. You talk about ratios and getting the ratios right. I've smoked a lot of Cornell and Deal. I've never had anything quite like this from them. I've had, I mean, so much of their stuff has the Virginias and Burleys, and Red Virginia and White Virginia or Gold Virginia. I forget. They use so many different synonyms now. This is unique. A lot of you guys probably don't blend your stuff together nearly as much as I do because I'm kind of sloppy that way. I blend when stuff starts getting down. I just start blending back and forth. And if you ask me what I'm smoking on a given day, I really couldn't tell you because Oak Alley goes well with anything, and a lot of C&D blends, they're so similar that you can kind of mix them anyway. Man, that's gonna be tough to beat. But here comes the challenger. Put Havana Daydream down, pick back up Key Largo. I'll tell you what, boys. These are not brothers from the same mother. These are cousins. And to be honest, I think they are equally interesting in their own way. I got to stare off into space here. I got to go into deep thought, like Jack Handy. I kind of recommend smoking them both together. No, that's a toke right there. Oh man. Oh man. You got to be in the right mood to smoke this stuff too. I've had bowls of each earlier, well, I guess it'd be yesterday. But if you're not relaxed in the right mindset, I'm telling you, yes, it depends on what you ate and what you drank at the time, and the pH balance in your mouth and whatnot. But you also have to have, you don't have to be relaxed, but you have to be in some type of state to allow enjoyment to happen. You ever had those bowls where you smoke and you rush a little too much and you're just not getting the same vibe off of it? The Vulcan death grip. Among Cloud, we do science here on this channel, and so this is, you know that. This is the name of science. So we're doing some Key Largo in the fancy Ronaldo, and some Havana Daydream in the Ardor. I think it's a brandy style. I always forget. It's not an apple. I think it's a brandy style. Close call. Close call between both. I should just put in the title of these videos that this is science. YTPC science. On that note, though, for people just coming in, I will type in what we're doing here. I should have done that in the beginning. Key Largo versus Havana Daydream. There we go. Oh, my Claude, I thought you would have been a Key Largo trier from many years ago. It's got God knows, it has one of the prettiest tins. We compared tin art earlier, but and the tin note here is it's pretty nice. I'm trying to think of a tobacco that has a horrible tin note, but smokes amazingly. Maybe Big and Burley. It's been a while since I've had some of those potent, really potent Burley blends. Let me catch up here, guys. Sorry, I was staring off into space for a while. Abe, I agree, but cigar leaf can go well in the heat and in the winter. Maybe not too hot though. It gets pretty hot down here. It's great. It's great all around. I think Abe is sponsored by the Cigar Lobby. I'm getting vibes here. Cigar leaf absolutely needs Latakia. I would agree. Technically, I think all these have Latakia. I know 2 of the 3 have Latakia in them. I think all 3 do. So that'd be an interesting comparison. A cigar leaf blend without Latakia. Maybe a little harsh. I think the Latakia probably softens it up a little bit. In Florida for a week, I brought some 3 nuns. The way I read that is like, I brought 3 nuns. I was like, well, that's one way to vacation to Florida. DFK, dark fire Kentucky. Hits right in the heat of the summer. I would have thought colder temperatures, but again, I don't buy different blends in different times of the year, to be honest. I don't think I do, at least. When I used to smoke, occasionally, when I used to smoke the, what do they call flavored tobaccos? I can't even think of it anymore. I never buy them. Not ornamental. But at Christmas time, I would occasionally buy something. Why can't I think of the name? Scented? What do you call it? This is embarrassing. Flavored, scented, adulterated, bastardized. What's the word? Aromatic. God damn it. occasionally, in years past. Oh wow, 107. I apologize for that, Sexture. Um, I would dabble into some aromatic stuff. Like Lane 1Q. Every time I buy Lane 1Q, it's only about 1 ounce, maybe 2 ounces per year. It is usually in the wintertime, and I think I'm just going to mix this. And for whatever reason, it tastes great by itself. But the thoughts in my head that I just want a little bit of this on top of something neutral, it never works out. There's something about Lane 1Q, it's just not meant for blending. By the way, Abe, when I read carefully, online, not here, I believe one of the cheating mechanisms behind Habana Daydreams, oh, it's Habana. I kept saying Havana. Habana Daydreams' smooth character has unsweetened black Cavendish in it. Double check, make sure I'm not lying. Unsweetened black Cavendish, and I've talked about this occasionally, not sweetened, but unsweetened, is one of the most ingenious things to add to a tobacco to smooth it out. All you guys know what sweetened black Cavendish tastes like. That's your Captain Black. But unsweetened in the right proportions, we're talking about ratios earlier. If you ask me to name a blend that has it in it, there's several in Cornell and Deal. About Pegasus, for example, or Pegasus, as I like to say it. Man, I don't know. I mean, I'm saying this out loud. I don't know why I've never bought like 1 ounce of unsweetened black Cavendish to keep on hand to use for mixing. Just to try it out. No more orders though. I've already bought enough tobacco in the last 30 days. 76. Abe's in North Dakota. Yikes. But that 76 is pretty good for summertime. North Dakota. North Dakota. That is way up there. I have to assume there's no tobacco shops up in North Dakota. That's got to be a UPS delivery, which is what I do anyway. TP. Oh, sorry, I missed you earlier. Yeah, TP. The NC weather has been fantastic the last 48 hours. We got 5 more days of it, I think. Haven't had yet, but Cloud Hopper has no Latakia. That's a Scarleaf blend, I'm assuming. H&H Virginia Spice. Home and Hearth? Hearth and Home. Hearth and Home Virginia Spice. I've had that because I recognize that name, but it's been, we're talking 6-7 years. So I have no reference. Good news about North Dakota, they almost have no rules up there, so you can probably smoke anywhere. Just assuming. You guys could help me out if you want to give this a thumbs up. That will help the next live stream get propagated more, I believe, if I do the math right. Jesus, I got sunburnt yesterday. I'm just realizing that. This cloudy weather is suspicious. I always wear a hat when it's super hot and sunny. Yesterday I got real naive. It's like, well, it's cloudy out. I was out for 45 minutes. Basted. My face was on fire all night long. Other than the smoke shops, going back to Arizona now, we have on Cigars and Pipes a local chain. Oh, local chain. Okay. I have not smoked inside in quite a while. To be honest, I've smoked outside for so long, like covered patios, this covered porch here, obviously. Yeah, I went to Miami one time. For those of you who have not been to Miami, I didn't think I was going to like it. I thought it was going to be all Miami-ish, but it was amazing. It was like 5 years ago. it was amazing where you could smoke. High-rise buildings with rooftop bars. Even if they're serving food, you could smoke a cigar. Go to Little Havana and get rolled cigars. It was a smoker's paradise. I loved it. But I went during Christmas time, where the weather is perfect, kind of like now. All right, I've been ignoring my Havana daydream. We might need a Spanish speaker's help here. So everyone knows Havana is the capital of Cuba, but is Havana a word or is it just a made-up word? I'm trying to think of the significance of Havana daydream. This is easier smoking. This burns easier as well, just because it's a loose cut. Hey, my vacation in Spain a few months ago for my anniversary. Congratulations. You could smoke. Oh yeah, Southern Europe. You could smoke anywhere and everywhere. Everyone smokes cigarettes, of course. You'd see old ladies rolling cigarettes and walking at the same time. I was in Holland for quite a while many years ago, and the same thing. Everybody rolled, of all ages. Everyone had their little pouch. Is that true? KR4M? Can somebody Google that? Because now I'm actually, in the name of science, since McLeod's not is no longer our science officer. Actually, let's see if I can do this. Let's I'm going to promote McLeod to managing moderator. This is a temporary assignment based on performance. We'll see. McLeod, you have 30 seconds to recognize this amazing award. I don't know if you're still here or not. If not, McLeod gets it for longevity. If not, it's going to go to Abe next. Now, I can definitely see Havana Daydream being an everyday smoke, regardless of any occasion. More universally smokable, to be honest. I would not think that Key Largo is a super hot weather blend. There's definitely more cigar leaf in this. It does feel more, to be fair, special. It's a more unique blend. I feel more sophisticated smoking it. Yeah, I'd say for sensitive palates, I've been a daydream all day long. I don't even want to dip into this Billy Bud. I think that's going to be. I mean, I'm going to do it, but I'm a little reluctant, a little nervous about doing it. Mm. Well, Abe, thank you for the recommendation. This was a fine insight that you had on something I've overlooked for at least a year. Let's do a quick aside about my interlude with Spectrum. We had a thunderstorm the other day, and there was lightning, and my router went down. It got fried. wouldn't turn back on. So I'm actually doing this from a hotspot on my cell phone right now. I called up Spectrum and I said, hey, I need a new router. Can you send me one? They're like, yeah, sure. Or you could just go to one of our stores and that might be quicker. And I like quick. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And he's like, yeah, just walk in. You don't need, just walk in. So I drove down to a mall and I'm like, that's a bad sign already. You never want to go to a mall. And I took my router and I walked in. There's a line of people. And you walk in, there's this digital interface to give you a ticket number. And it said, you have an appointment. I was like, the guy never told me you can make an appointment. And so I was like, no, I don't have an appointment. And then you put in your name. And then there's a board way over, like a digital TV, 100 feet in the corner that you have to go walk into and then see where your number's at. So as soon as I did that, I waited around like 10 minutes. I didn't even see the board yet. And eventually I saw people walking up to the board. And I'm like, what are they looking at? I got to be, I got to be number 3, 4, or 5. And I walked up and I saw my number and it said, David, number 27. I was like, Jesus Christ, you got to be kidding me. I waited another hour and I got all the way down to number 9. This is a horror story. Never go to a Spectrum store, by the way. And I was on number 9. I went outside to smoke a pipe, and I waited a good 5-10 minutes. I don't want to miss my spot, so I'd go in and check every 5-6 minutes. And I was still on number 9, still on number 9. I was on number 9 for about 20 minutes. And I was like, screw this, I'm taking off. So I was there about 90 minutes, and I got from 27 down to number 9. And then on the way home, I'm calling Spectrum, like, I just want the shipped solution. But then I couldn't get to the right customer service person, so I spent another hour on the phone of Spectrum trying to, do you want a landline? No. All these automated messages. Do you want mobile? No, I want to exchange equipment. There was not an option for that. So after an hour, I finally got to a guy and I told him, I almost thought about saying like I was assaulted in the store, thinking maybe that they would like give me like overnight, an overnight package. But I didn't get that. I didn't try that option. So I should have my new router by Tuesday, but it was the most horrific shopping experience I've ever had. Ah, Sexture, I think you're right. The Billy Bud, I think the mouth coating I'm getting is not the cigar leaf. I think it's the Latakia. I think it's a Latakia bomb. But we'll try it out. I got like kind of a mentholy, just a mouth coating of numbness in my first couple draws. And again, I'm not a Latakia head. That's been public knowledge for quite a while here. Sexture, your typing skills have went downhill. Xfinity, that's a name I haven't seen in a while. All right, Abe, I think my cloud is gone. So you now have maximum authority. You can manage blocked words, change chat modes in live, and also have capabilities of standard moderators. I think it gives you a little like king crown the next time you comment. Mm. The luxury bullseye flake is still a little flavorless to me so far. I've tried mixing it. I need to start mixing with this, but It looks amazing. It smells pretty good, but I'm just not getting a lot of punch. Speaking of unsweetened black Cavendish, correct me if I'm wrong. That middle coin, or not the coin, the middle. What do you call it? The bullseye, the middle puck inside the luxury bullseye fleck. I believe is unsweetened black Cavendish, which should make it taste amazing. Oh, you got the wrench. It's not a crown, it's a wrench. One you don't see often is LJ Peretti's Blend 500. I've had LJ Peretti's Cigar Leaf. They have another one that has Havana in the title, I think, or Cuban. It's got the word Cuban mixture. That's the one. I don't think I've had the 500. I've never had Fuente either. My Spanish is horrible. But if I recall correctly, from seventh grade Spanish class, which is where I learned all my Spanish, it was a 6 week class. I think Fuente means I think Fuente means Doritos, but it could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Hmm. Yeah, I've talked about LJ Peretti's before. It has like a common topping, a conditioning, I would say, not a topping, but a conditioning. It's. I think in a blind taste test, I'd be able to tell if I was smoking LJ Peretti's even today, and I haven't had it in God, it's got to be 3 years. I think within one toke, I think I smell a little Peretti in there, or taste a little Peretti in there. All right, other smoking stories. Guys, feel free to chime in or drop your questions in the chat here. I'm going to be on for at least another 25, 30 minutes. At least enough time to try at least a tiny bowl of Billy Bud, which is not going to be, I don't think that's going to be enjoyable for me. But in the name of science, I think it's important to do. Old school floral topping. Hmm. I want to hear about worst blends you've been smoking, best blends, horrible experiences. The more traumatic, the better for today's purposes. Piping mishaps. I haven't had one of those in a while in terms of like damaging a pipe, but God knows I've had them. The retro hail on Habana Daydream is, I'd almost say it's exquisite. It's so, again, going back to the word balance, it's so well balanced. Through the nose, I'm talking about now, not just the mouthfeel. I mean, it's just like a slight burn to let you know it's there. It's not singeing any hairs, but it's strong enough that it could do it. We have 1 month of summer left, and that means, like all trends, fall trends are already coming. And one of those trends is a recent phenomenon called fest beers. And so this is, I'm not a fan of this one, but I had it. This is Sierra Nevada's Oktoberfest, but more importantly, it's a fest beer. There are much better fest beers out there. There's two styles. There's the Marzens, which are more sweeter and more amber colored, and there's the fest beers, which are lighter and less sweet, less caramely. And between those two, I'm a big fan of the fest beers, not the Marzens. So like a Samuel Adams Oktoberfest, not a big fan. But I'll throw in my recommendation here.
It's not out yet.
Tucker or Tucker, depending on the pronunciation. Abe, I don't have any blend I dislike. Well, I don't. I have several, but I think straight Virginias are boring. It's hard to find a straight Virginia unless you're buying as like uh, like in a plastic bag, wholesale. Cornell and Deal is the only one that can make good Virginias. That can make good Virginias for me, since they do not case some of the woods. That's a fair point. That lack of casing rubs some people the right way, and it rubs some people the wrong way. That old McClellan crowd, those straight Virginias. I think there was a match that talked about a Red Virginia. I think it was 500 Red Virginia. It was a number behind it, but that was about as straight as McClellan ever got, and it was conditioned, and it was nice, and it was smooth, but it was not. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Cornell and Deal makes like a red carpet that's 100% Red Virginia. Um, I bought a 2-ounce tin of that one time, and that was a little too straight for me. I needed I needed something else in the mix on that one. Bayou Morning's good, exclusive, and its older brother. Exclusive. Oh, exclusive is its older brother. 50% Perique. I've never even heard of exclusive. Let me type that one in here. I've had many tins of Bayou Morning at wildly different quality levels, or different, let's just say, tastes. Wildly different. I've had many 8-ounce tins of Bayou Morning. I got the flake one time, but I always like the ribbon cut. It's just sometimes I like flake, sometimes I like the ribbon cut. And with Bayou Morning, I always like the ribbon cut for some reason. Exclusive. That's a kind of a strange title. Holy crap. Exclusive pipe tobacco on tobaccoreviews.com, which is where we all go for our reviews. Has a 4.5. That's smoking pipes. Sorry, I don't trust smoking pipes reviews. They only go to 4. All right, Cornell and Deal's exclusive has a 2.97, so a 3. I have not tried that. I'll drop that link in here for the people who can't be here right now, but are fans of science. KR4, I'll have to get some then. Thanks. I've never had the flake version, only the ribbon Bayou Morning, and I love that stuff. KR4, have you ever had? It depends on. I'm talking about over the course of 5 years. You've never had. Actually, this is a question for everybody. I'm like a broken record sometimes talking about the variations in Cornell and Deal's tobaccos, but I don't think anyone has really chimed in and said, yes, you're right. So now is the question for you guys. And I've been saying this for like 3 years. Like I said, broken record, almost every live stream. Do you guys agree? And if so, like name a blend that you think is kind of been like a roller coaster up and down. Because maybe it's just me. But please God, don't let it be. I could see if it was me, I think it would go one direction. I don't think it would go up and down. And when I buy the stuff, I mean, we're talking about large quantities here. It's not little 2-ounce bags. So, for example, the last 8-ounce tin of Cairo I bought 6 months ago, 9 months ago, and that has a heavy topping, which I like. I cracked Cairo open and I couldn't smell any topping, and I'm like, What's going on here? Ah, okay. KR4, you smoke one tobacco for a year? That is... Talk about taking nuns to to Miami. That takes commitment. I can never smoke. I don't think I could. I don't think I could smoke the same tobacco. I don't smoke the same tobacco on a given day. I mean, no, no. In my backpack, which I always carry, I always have at least two. But I know that's not normal. But that's just the way. That's just the way I roll. The flip side of that is maybe to really get to know a tobacco, you got to stick with it. I mean, I agree with that. But the counterpoint is if you keep going back and forth, kind of like a palate cleanser. But yeah. All right, still looking for stories here of variable taste differences. I won't say quality, just taste differences in the same Cornell and Beale tobacco between different batches. Oh, sorry. Okay. I would agree, Sexture. Sourcing, I mean, the conditioning part wouldn't be the that'd be harder to believe if they're just doing different things in the factory. If you contact smoking pipes and say the blend tastes off or is full of shake, what is shake, by the way? Is that just dust in the bottom? Ah, the bottom of the barrel tobacco. They will send you some new stuff. Well, it's too late now, but yeah, that's a good point, Abe. I should have done that. But my story would be different. It would be like this doesn't taste like it has any topping on it. That was for the Cairo story. We need a Mr. Akimba in here. We need a veteran, so to speak, that maybe can validate or refute my claims. All right, I think we're getting down to Billy Bud time here, although I still have at least a third of a bowl here. These days, I'm getting down to like a quarter bowl, and then I kind of call it quits. I'm not going down to the depths of the earth, down to the last nugget of baccy. All right, I got a fresh pipe here. Fresh meaning it hasn't been smoked in the last 90 minutes. There was on that note before I pack up Billy Bud. There was I had a good friend that was a YouTuber a while back, Jeremy Larson. He was in South Dakota at the time. I think now he's in Louisiana. Great guy. He did an experiment, and he deleted his channel, so you can't really watch it anymore. But he got the hankering to just smoke the same pipe all day for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, trying to test that old claim that you need to let your pipes dry out. But he's also smoking some aromatic stuff, apple fritter, and all kinds of stuff I wouldn't smoke. And I can't really prove it worked out or not, but it does prove you can do it. All right, somebody stole my Billy Bud. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, great. Welcome, everyone. YouTube just notified me more people are joining. The primary reason, if I had to guess, would be the age of the Bayou Morning when you receive it. I don't ever recall seeing a date on big bags. I always buy my stuff in a tin. Bayou Morning comes in 8-ounce tin. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the 8-ounce tin, both on the GLP side and the Cornell and Deal side. I like that 8-ounce tin. That's why you see this. All right. A heavy, it says it right there. I don't know why I missed this. A heavy Latakia blend. So I forgot who said it. It might have been Abe. I had no idea this was touting itself as a heavy Latakia blend. So that's going to explain a lot. I have around 70 pipes, but would be happy with less than 10. I think, Abe, I think my max was around just under 30. Some got stolen. My car got broken into. Teenagers stole. Makes me mad even that they stole my Peterson spigot pipe, which was my favorite pipe. And he probably used it to smoke weed out of. And I'm like, what? There should be a separate crime for desecrating briar. Not recently, but there was a time back in Raleigh, North Carolina, where there was a cigar bar I could smoke in. I forgot about that. But occasionally, a younger 20-something would ask me, like, "Hey, can you smoke weed in that?" And I'm like, "You could, but it'd be a second-degree misdemeanor." All right, getting ready for Billy Bud here. Let me get some liquid courage. Although it's really my mouth that needs protection, but do some Jamaican pineapple rum. All right. Maybe not a hanging, maybe a public lashing, maybe. Hmm. Oh boy. There's so much Latakia in this. In hindsight, I'm not sure you can detect cigar leaf. Let's keep going here. It is minty cool, though. I will tell you that. Does anyone know how to get the flame down on a Zippo? My flame is way too high. I think it's the height of the wick. It's hard to get in there and cut it now. You need like an X-Acto knife because the wick is now. I don't want to waste any gas here, but the wick is right in the middle. It's impossible to cut. So I guess I just wait to burn it off. Thank you, KR. So it is the wick then. All right, I'm going to try to push through it, Abe. Although not rush it at the same time. Patience, which is not a virtue that I usually have. I'm trying to see the other side. That's challenging. It's not challenging from a mouthfeel standpoint. Every toke tastes the exact same. So at least it's consistent. But I'm looking for some transition or some, just like when you eat a pepper or spicy food, sometimes you get a spice in the forefront, sometimes you get it in the back, occasionally you get in the middle. This is dead flat. So consistent, but hmm, that's a good point. If I want to take it back apart, which I don't really want to do, I could do that. I could see Billy Bud being pleasant, but for me, it would not be enjoyable. Mixing is always an option then. Maybe I can't think of the name. There's a tobacco I was thinking of that was famous like 8 years ago. Not Cornell and Deal. It must have been a McBaron blend, I guess. Um, that was heavy light IKEA, but it transitioned, and I actually had a great time with it. But I just can't think of the name. It had 2 words in it. I said on the last stream, it is a change of pace blend. A change of pace blend. When I need to change up from smoking the same thing. um, I hear you on that one. But there's no variety within the blend itself. That's that's the hard part. That's the part I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around. It's definitely different. So it'd be a change of pace for me. But uh, for the sake of humor, I would say it would be like just going on a diet of straight rye bread. Like it'd be a change of pace, but there wouldn't be a whole lot of adventure in that change, except for the change itself. Mmm. Key Largo is one note. Interesting. Well, let's give it time. I think every tobacco, there's a point at which you kind of want to call it. I don't want to say quits, but you basically say, look, if you're going to change, it would happen by now. And I think most people would agree that's going to be mid bowl. If something doesn't transition mid bowl, for example, I think Oak Alley. Sometimes I get tired of talking about Oak Alley because I love it so much. But Oak Alley, it seems like that transitions between tokes in the same quarter bowl essentially. But I'll give this a half a bowl, and then it will go right into the mixing jar. Because let's be honest, there's some tobaccos that could use a little bit of Latakia and a little bit of cigar leaf. Hmm. Dedicated pipes for dedicated tobaccos. Even if I wanted to, I just don't have the discipline. I think to. Well, I usually smoke outside the house. I pack things up in my backpack and I take it outside. So that'd be interesting. Abe, can you do me a favor as the administrator? I forgot to admit, I forgot to tell you there are some responsibilities as well, and one of them is looking a couple things up. So I haven't done this since yesterday, and I forget the scores. But could you Google tobaccoreviews.com the score for Billy Bud, not blonde, the normal one, versus Key Largo. I have a feeling, also knowing the people who leave reviews, I think Key Largo will have a higher score, but I would really like to know. And Habana Daydream. Might as well, if you can type in the scores of all three in the name of science, that'd be the sign of a great moderator with a long career of moderating ahead of him. What's that Spider-Man quote? With great power, with great power comes great responsibility. Something like that. So instead of Spider-Man, this would be like Tobacco Man. Instead of shooting webs out of his wrists, it would be. Well, let's get creative here. It would be shooting pipe cleaners out your wrist. And as many pipe cleaners as I go through in a given week, you could shoot them down to pipe smokers from tall buildings. Not understood by most of the population of the metropolis, but appreciated by the few who need it. All right, I'm going to give Billy Bud just a nice little rest here. Not dumping it, just a nice little rest. A little back to something a little more pleasant. Havana Daydream. Back in the day, guys used to talk about on these live streams about what's the maximum amount of time you can set your pipe down and pick it back up before it kind of goes stale. It never really goes out very quickly, but like there's a time limit. It kind of depends on how good it's burning and how far down the bowl you are. But in my experience, it's never over 10 minutes. So this is kind of a rewarming up of old bowls. And this actually had its own hashtag back in the day called delayed gratification. It's not quite the same thing, but what guys would do, they do the charring light, spend a couple minutes with a bowl, and then purposely set it down to let it rest. I haven't heard that. I don't watch a lot of YTPC videos anymore, but that used to be a thing. If you go on YouTube and look up delayed gratification YTPC, you'll still see some old videos from like 2015, 2016 of guys talking about this. All right, we got the scores. Thank you, sir. You're a scholar and a gentleman. Billy Bud, 3.37. Key Largo, essentially the same score. We're talking about decimals here. Habana Daydream, 3.28. Yeah, okay. So I did know that Habana Daydream would be, or I thought it would be lower, but based on my experience now, I would swap some places here. This is Key Largo now. Jim Links is in every one of these reviews. The default sorting of tobaccoreviews.com is the most valuable or most useful review. So his is always at the top, and he always writes like 2 or 3 paragraphs. The good news is I didn't wait too long. This Key Largo is still tasting quite nice. Quite nice. Let's turn up the brightness here. Welcome, new people. We're doing some science experiments here. I'll have to rewatch the beginning to get the whole story, but we're comparing Billy Bud versus Key Largo versus Abandoned Daydream. And also reviewing a substandard beer, which I'm a fan of the style, but not a fan of this particular version of this style. Sierra Nevada, I remember when they first came out, we're going back 15, we're going back more than 15, maybe 18 years ago, when their famous pale ale first hit the stores. I am no longer an IPA fan, but back in the day, that was technically a pale ale, not an IPA, but back in the day, there was nothing else quite like it, widely available in grocery stores. And when Sierra Nevada first came out, I thought my mind was blown. And then, when a few years, just like Latakia, within a few years, my taste buds didn't want to taste hops anymore, or extreme hops, I should say. Torpedo. Daniel, welcome. I've had Torpedo. That's the extreme version, right? That's like the 7%, 7.5%, or something like that. I've had a double IPA before. I couldn't feel my tongue the next day, but yeah, I'm getting sensitive in my old age. My tongue can handle a saison that's 7, 8, 9%. It can a double, a triple, all the different Belgian beers. It can pretty much handle anything, but it just can't handle highly concentrated hops for some reason. It's not that it can't handle it. It's just not. It's just not enjoyable, I should say. But I still have a stomach of steel. So other things that people would think are disgusting or challenging, I can actually handle them pretty well. It's just something about hops. Hops and Latakia, my only two kryptonite, I would say. I can eat raw sardines, not raw sardines. I can eat sardines. I get like a Clint Eastwood eye when I'm eating sardines. It's not pleasurable, but I know it's good for me, so I can do it. The closer the pine sol, the more. No, I think in my later years, I've become more of a Pilsner and Lager man. I used to think those were boring, but I think much like Oriental tobaccos or Turkish tobaccos, I think the nuance of trying to pull flavor out of subtleness is number one, more enjoyable. Number two, arguably more challenging for me. In those two regards. To, in a similar vein, maybe coffee as well. I've never been a dark coffee drinker or lover. Um, when you have an AeroPress, you can pretty much get a strong light coffee and make it super strong, almost like a light coffee espresso type of drink, because you get to stew it for 3, 4, 5 minutes. But dark coffee just tastes burnt to me. Ah, there we go. A Pilsner lover. Abe, I think I recall you saying you don't understand people who drink whiskey neat. Well, throwing down some fighting words now. So I amend that statement, and I amend it as of, we'll say, the last 30 days. So somebody talked me into buying Bushmills Black. I'll type that in. This is the, I'm not going to say it's the one exception. There's two. I'll type the other one in. The other one is technically a Scotch, but it drinks like an Irish whiskey. And this other one's pretty popular here. These are widely available. Nothing hard to get. But I think I stand on what I said. I can never drink or sip bourbon neat or whiskey neat, but I had no idea that Irish whiskey was its own thing, triple distilled as opposed to double, and is, in my opinion, shockingly smooth in a way that, from my experience, bourbon and other whiskeys can't be, or very hard to achieve that same smoothness. And I was very skeptical, but I bought a bottle of Bushmills Black, and I mean, if you could have saw my face, I'm pouring a snifter. I'm like, this is going to be the same burn, a little bit, obviously decent flavor, but just followed by burn. And I was shocked. I was shocked. I think I finished that glass. I still prefer it adding something to it, but it was an eye opener for sure. Rye whiskeys or high rye bourbons. I agree in mixed drinks. I like a rye in a Manhattan versus a non-rye for sure, but I can never drink it straight. Is the Perique of whiskey. It adds black pepper and spice. High rye bourbon would be the Wild Turkey or Old Grandad. I have Wild Turkey 101, which is also great for mixing. I'll take a sip every once in a while, but I'll never do a pour. And but I think that's part of the process. Is while I'm mixing it, I'll take a sip. I also have Fittich, which is more of a Scotch. That's a little more of a burn. Daniel OGD. I almost thought you were saying Old Dark Fired, Old Grandad. I didn't know Old Grandad made a 114. I bought the cheapo $25 Old Grandad again for mixing early summer. I think it was on special as well. And to make a long story short, I do something called, and this is a little bit of a education sharing here. I do something called super juicing. I'll type it out here, where you buy citric acid and blend the peels of limes and lemons, then strain, then freeze into cubes. I got this off YouTube, so if you guys want to learn more about it, you can just search in YouTube super juice. And to make a long story short, you can prepare, 30, 40, 50 ice cubes. You can turn like 8 lemons as opposed to getting like 16 drinks out of those by half a lemon. It's like a 10x. You can basically melt the peels with acid that you buy off Amazon, and then blend all that together, and then strain it out in a strainer. And it's more of an efficiency play. It's a bartender invented this because, make a long story short, lemon and lime juice oxidize very quickly, and so instead of having to crush or juice 100 lemons every day in a bar, he wanted to get more lemon extract out of a single lemon, and this was the way to do it. And so my ice cube trays look yellow because I've been doing this for the last year and a half, 2 years, and you only make lemon juice like 3 or 4 times a year, and so it's something fun. It has a more intense lemon lime taste as well. So something to look at doing. Oh, well, the juicing is something different. That was super juice, which does not use the juicer. The juicer that I bought on Amazon Prime, I'll just type it in, the Nama J3, not the J2. I think 23 days. I'll let this stand on its own. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm just gonna turn the light on while I've been talking for an hour and 15. So I'll be right back. Okay. I'm not kidding, Daniel. It is. I got a vacuum sealer, so when I juice my fruits and vegetables, I put them in bowl jars. I have a vacuum sealer to suck the air out to try to get the longest refrigeration life out of that juice. It still only lasts about 3, 4, 5 days. Everything oxidizes eventually, but you can extend it. And when I pop that top open every morning, and I usually drink about 8 to 10 ounces of. I'm doing beets and celery and butternut squash. You can juice these days with modern juicers. You can juice pretty much anything, and it's drinkable. But after about 10, 15 minutes, there is a tsunami going on in my gut that you think after a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, that tsunami would settle down, and it's it is still a violent episode, extremely violent. That's all I'll say about that. All right, boys. I think I'm going to call it a night. This was a enjoyable stream for me. Thanks, Abe, for holding the wrench. Thanks, everyone, for joining and commenting. I think the takeaway for this stream is that Havana Daydream was definitely a great find. Thanks for the recommendation. Key Largo is going to be my second favorite. I'd almost hold them equal, but for different occasions. And Billy Budd is going to be. It's going to stick around for a while. I just have to find out what to do with it. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.